starts off intact, but then it disintegrates in midair. Gravity alone could not cause the top section to disintegrate. When an object is in free fall, there are no internal stresses. It should have hit the ground in one piece, but it didn't. Some of the debris is clearly being accelerated by forces other than gravity. These effects can be caused by late firing explosives, which can produce a white smoke trail. White smoke, consisting of aluminum oxide, is a byproduct of the thermite reaction. While producing this video, I ran across one rocket projectile I had not seen commented on before. This one stopped midair and changed directions. Even taking perspective effects into account, this projectile lost one component of momentum and gained another. That requires an impulse. Note that the rocket trail does not point back to the building, but the point where the impulse occurred. Let's take it from the top. There's a lot going on. Watch for the smoky guns.
It's time now for a summary. It'll be very short. It will last 6.5 seconds. True, because I'll tell you my personal story. When I started my involvement with the 9/11 truth movement began, I think, close to 3-4 years ago, when I saw Building-7 for the first time. I'm a natural scientist. I'm trained to analyze my surroundings and always search for explanations. And for once, I was told this is World Trade Center. What? I thought it was the Twin Towers. Why have nobody told me about this skyscraper? Second, I couldn't understand why the building was collapsing. So I pushed the button 10 times, and my jaw went further down. And since that day, for me, there's been no way back. Well, you have seen it so many times. The Jays don't like this. Thank you, gentlemen, for your ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. I'm sorry for the technical problem. Now, questions, comments, whatever, and we'll refer to our panel up here also probably to asking questions. Yes, you were first, I think.
In the initial construction of these buildings, they were originally designed. In the initial construction of these buildings, is it reasonable to suggest that they were designed in such a way to be able to take multiple plane hits?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that one work? So yes. Will you take yes for an answer? So yeah, it was designed to take multiple hits. It was the largest aeroplane known at the time, which was
Boeing 707. 707.
707. And you saw that the things stood, both those towers stood for quite a while after the plane impact on the building number 1, which hit kind of in the middle of that facade. You could have run another plane to the back of it. It was still stood. And it's really because the external columns are there to deal with bending, not with gravity loads. And as it was not a windy day, there was very little stress in the outer columns. It could have taken another hit on the opposite side and still stood. Yeah, I think I'd be the one with the mic.
So you commented that aluminum is silvery. So yeah, I've seen the videos. How, if you increase the temperature more and more, how long will it stay silvery? Or would it also turn orange, yellow?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Actually, I've searched the literature for what you call it the emissivity of the metal, of aluminum at higher temperatures. Apparently, it hasn't been measured. I can't find it. Because there's somebody claiming that this is aluminum at 1500 degrees coming out of the tower. And I say, okay, it's okay with me, because if aluminum can reach a temperature of 1500 degrees, then the question is, how did it get at that temperature? But I think this has not been recorded. And the point is that if it gets liquid at 660 degrees, and then it starts running, then why should it be held back? Yeah, maybe you should come forward, please.
Excuse me, I think Stephen James has got an answer to this. He has melted aluminium in an iron pot until the iron pot was red hot, glowing, and then poured the aluminium out and it looked silvery. So the aluminium had to be the same temperature as the iron pot. I think he's proved the fact that in daylight, aluminium at the temperature of molten iron is silver. And if you look at the emissivity, of course, the emissivity of the aluminium is extremely low, the reflectivity is extremely high, whereas iron's the other way around. Iron's got a low, it's got a high emissivity and a low reflectivity. That's why iron and aluminium look so different from that molten.
There's a question up here.
This may be a little off topic, but do you have an opinion or an explanation on who may be responsible for the bombing?
Go ahead. I'm not talking politics.
I will give you an answer to that question, who is responsible. It is not for the scientists to answer that question. It is for the scientists to find out what happened, and for other people to find out who did it.
It is a pretty good sort of display you have here. Have you tried the mainstream media to get this out on ABC or BBC? I don't know. So this is, yeah. So have you tried to get it to the main media?
We're at their throats constantly. They slam the door on their feet.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if this is a naive question, but September 11th is always, 9/11 has always fascinated me a bit. When you fly down the Hudson, Ground Zero has buildings on two sides. So there are high-rise buildings one side, and then the other side, and then the Hudson's here. If you were to fly down the Hudson and hit these buildings, then presumably either the plane would get caught inside the buildings and there would be an explosion, or the plane would fly out the other side, in which case it would hit buildings here or here. I've never been able to quite rationalise that.
The Twin Towers are the tallest. There's nothing taller than the Twin Towers.
If you would like to have a bit of a...
Yeah, but it would go over. If the plane would either remain inside the Twin Tower and explode, or alternatively, I mean, I couldn't see the plane causing an implosion, which is what's being suggested. It would surely cause an explosion.
What if the NIST report has some nice animations showing that the plane that hit World Trade Center 1 shattered on impact